Okay, guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be reversing a string, which is one of the most commonly code questions. We're going to be doing it in Rust. Um, the the basic thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be taking a set of characters in Rust and we're going to be flipping them around. So, for instance, if we have A, B, C, D, E, we'll be flipping them around to have something like E, D, C, B, and A. Like you get the point. So the basic idea here is to take some characters and flip them around. And we'll do that using Rust. So, um, how are we going to do this? There are two ways of doing this, and the ways of doing this is to help you master the Rust syntax and some of the methods that are available in Rust. So, basically, in an interview, I'm going to be showing you two patterns of doing this. One, I would recommend that you should not do in an interview, a technical interview, while the other I would recommend that you do it. And we're going to be using two methods. We're going to be using the reverse method that is available on the vector Rust. And we're also going to be using the two-pointer technique, which is a very popular technique for more efficient ways of reversing a string or stuff like that. So without wasting much time, I'm just going to go ahead and um, I'm just going to go ahead and create program a file and would go ahead and I'll show you the first method of doing it. So quickly, I'm already in my Rust folder where I do all my Rust stuff. So I'll go ahead and create a new project. I'll just call it cargo new ESA. Jeez. Rust. So I've created that folder and I would cd into dsa underscore. Here I'll open it. I'll now open it with my VS Code terminal. My VS Code, sorry, not the terminal. Hey, later. So here we have the basic structure of our project. We have source, the main, and in the main we have simple hello world program, which we can quickly run. We can quickly say cargo run, sorry, and we'll have our hello world here. Very simple. So I'll clear this and we'll start. So the first thing we want to do is want to think of how are we going to reverse a string in Rust. So let's say for instance we have something like this. Let's say we have a string, say something like let's string equals to a vector that contains some characters. So let's use the most popular one, something H E have L. So basically what we've written here is a vector of characters stored in a string, and we want it to be mutable so that we can work with it. So how do we flip this now to have something like I demonstrated or explained in the previous slide, the way we would have O as the first one, L, L, E, and H, all spelled from the back. And simple way we're going to do this is we're going to use a reverse method that is available on the vector macro, I think, and then that's what we're going to be using to flip this around, basically. So I love making my code very concise. So in order to do this, we are going to create a new file, and I'm going to be showing you a couple of things. So we'll call this file reverse a string. So it's a reverse. I cannot spell reverse today. Okay, string we say .rs, so it's a Rust file. So now we've created a file, and in that file we're going to be writing our function that is going to take that string, reverse it, and then return some value to us. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So instead of wasting much time talking about it, let me just go ahead and write the code. And when I'm done writing the code, I will explain what it does in full terms. So the first thing we want to do is we want to create a struct. So we'll create a struct which would kind of define how it kind of makes our code more readable, more easier, in my opinion, to follow and to understand. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and say, let's create a public struct. Very much that this will be public though, but and we'll call it reverse. So reverse, and we'll create an implementation block for it. So IMPL, and we'll call it reverse. So in that place, we'll now have our function. So since we want to import our function in the main RS folder, we'll make it a public function. So we'll say B I'll write our function, and this function will be called reverse a string, or just reverse string, just reverse a string. So in that reversing a string, now we want to do some certain things in that function. We want to do some certain. We want to make it very concise, and we want to make use of the reverse method that is present on the vector itself. So what we are going to do here is we are going to say we're expecting this our function to take, you know, immutable reference to the vector that contains our character. So immutable reference will represent reference with this, and we represent immutability with mut, and we say vec. In that vec, we want to, we're expecting characters, so char values, and pass our curly braces. Pass our curly braces again. So here, the simple thing we'll do is we'll just get the name of the variable which is passed here as a immutable reference, and then we'll just, reverse. So s dot reverse. If we do this, it's as simple as that. So with this, we can be able to reverse our string. So the next thing we're going to do now is we are now going to use this particular functionality in our main.rs folder. So this is a very, very interesting part. And in fact, one of the things I love so much about Rust is how easy it is to do some of the things that are, quite difficult in other languages or quite not as straightforward. So the first thing we want to do is we want to import our module, so reverse string, into the main.rs. So say mod, so the module, and we'll call it reverse string. Yeah, so we'll call this reverse string. And yeah, with this we've imported that's our file into this place. So we imported it. So what we'll do next now is to use our file that we imported in our function. So the first thing we'll do here is, first of all, we want to use this our module in our main function. So I'll be able to manipulate it as much as we want, if that's the correct word. So the first thing we'll do here is say, we want we have the reverse. Say reverse underscore string, reverse string, and in that reverse string, we have that our struct, so we'll call it reverse. And here in our reverse, we now have the function itself that is called reverse underscore string. And this, we know that this function now takes, as you can see, takes a mutable reference of the vector of characters, which is what we declared here. So we'll say it takes a mutable reference of as in our string. So we'll say string. Very simple. So down here, we want to print something to the console. So we'll say print line. So we want to print the value of our string or our string itself. Print line. Let's say so just passing basic um write-ups to make it more interesting. So we'll say string because it's our string that will be changed. So passing string, and hopefully when I run this, nothing breaks. So I would say cargo on exactly, and you can see that we have our reversed string here. So quickly, let me run you through what I just did. So first of all, we know that we want to reverse this vector of characters. We stored it in a variable called string, immutable variable, and we passed it into our function, which is the reverse string function that is part of the struct implementation block that is present in our reverse string module. And this module, we are importing it on line 1 using the mod. So mod short for module. Organize coding modules to organize coding modules, and then we are importing the reverse string method. So if I highlight this, see that it shows us what is inside of our module, which is the public struct and the implementation block and the function itself. So if I click on this, it takes us directly to that function, which is the file that the module which we created. So you see, so that value that we passed into reverse string, which we have here in the main here. So that value is, this is the mutable reference. So the reference and the mutable, so mutable reference of the string, which is the string of the vector of characters. So we're passing it into this reverse string that is present here. So this function gets it here. So we're now equating it to, I'll call this a variable, and we're saying s dot reverse. So we're calling the reverse method that reverses the order of elements in the slice, as you can see here. Basically, so and they gave, there's even an example. It takes 1 2 3 and flips them to 3 2 1. So this is basically how you reverse a string in the most simple way. You don't have to create another module, but I just like doing it like this to make the code more readable and more concise and easy to understand. So this is the first way you reverse a string. In the next section, or in the next one I'm going to be showing you or teaching you is how to reverse it using the two pointer technique. But before we do that, I will explain what the two pointer technique is so that you understand how it works. Okay, so we've been able to reverse a string using the previous method. So now let's think of how we can make this program better. And the way we can do this is by using the two pointer technique or the double pointer technique. And how this works is basically taking a look at what I've commented out here. We have the starting string, which is hello, and we have the full stops here working as the pointer in this case. So let's say this full stop is a pointer arrow pointing at H, while this one is a pointer arrow pointing at O. So in the first pass, what would happen is we'll swap O with H, and we'll swap O with H, and we'll increment the left value, the left pointer, and decrement the right pointer. So then we'll now have um, the left pointer pointing to E and the right one pointing to L. So they've decremented. So whenever the left is not less than the right any longer, we know that we've completely flipped or reversed our array basically. So what we are going to do now is the good thing is we've already set up our modules and our function and our main. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead, go to the reverse string function and add another um, implementation here. So this one we'll call it still a public function, and we'll call it two pointer. So two pointer reversal. So this two pointer reversal still takes the same mutable vector of characters. So say s characters, and yeah. So here now we know, according to the explanation, what we want to do is we want to get the first element in the vector and the last element in the vector. And if you're coming from a JavaScript background, we know that arrays are zero index. And to get the first element of an array, you know it is zero. And the last one will be the length of the array minus one. That will give us this. So the same thing applies here to in Rust. And we are going to do it. We're going to using that particular information, we are going to be able to create two pointers and we'll be able to use to swap these both values, then increment and decrement, swap again, increment and decrement until we get to the middle one where the left is no longer less than the right. So with all this information, coming back here, we'd say we'll create a left and a right pointer. So we'll say let's left pointer. So it's more explanatory. That's use camel casing. Sorry, using snake casing. So this pattern of using underscores in Rust is called snake casing. So I would equate it to 0, and don't forget to make it a mutable reference. Yeah. So guys, in case you're wondering where this 32 is coming from, so what this 32 basically means is that this value here is an integer of I32, which means it is a number, and what this variable is expected to have is what? A number. So as you can see, it is an I32, and the size is 4, basically. So that's what this means. So we'll also create another one. So we'll call it therefore the right. So we'll say immutable right pointer, and we'll set it to the length of the vector minus 1. So we know that we are getting the value here, and we're getting into this variable here. So what we'll do is we say s dot length minus 1. Minus 1. Exactly. So yeah, so now we now have the left and the right pointer. So this left pointer points to H, while the right pointer, this one, points to the end, which is O. So with this information, we'll now go ahead and say while the left, so while the left pointer, while the left pointer is less than the right pointer. Why this is the case, we want to do something. So here, what we are going to do is we are going to be using the swap method. There's a swap method um, available on the vector. So we would say s.swap. And what swap does is that it takes two values a and b and it swaps their position. So if I do this and I hover over it, so you see basically FM swap. So it takes a and b and swaps them. So basically it takes the index of the first element, index of the second element, and swaps them. So you can see an example here. We have this is an array, and this array we are taking the index of 2 and 4, which is C and E, and we're swapping them, and the result here is E and C. So C here is now at the last, and E here is now in the middle. So that's how the swap works. So what we'll do here is we'll pass in our left and right pointer. So we'll pass our left because we want to swap the left pointer with the right pointer. So say right pointer. Yep. So yeah. So A and B at the right pointers. And after that, we want to basically increment the values. So I'm getting cannot mutate s. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, okay, I understand why that is happening. We cannot mutate x because we are not passing it as a reference. Yeah, so we have to make it a reference and mutable friend. Exactly. So that error is gone. Yeah. So moving on, we now say let the because since we know that we are moving inward for the left and moving backward for the right, we would say let the left pointer. So we say left pointer will be equal to 1, while the right pointer will be equals to minus 1. So basically, the right pointer moves inward and the left pointer moves inward and the right one moves backward, similar to what we had here. So back in this place, um, with this we know we've completed this. So let's quickly go ahead and save and test. So save this. So uh, save this. Exactly. So what we'll do now is we'll quickly run our code. So let's say we come here and we pick okay. So I'm just going to paste in some things. Going to paste in some things. Okay. No need of pasting anything. Let's just go ahead and write it out manually. So let's say reverse the name of the module string and destruct as the name of our function. So the name of our function here is two pointer reversal. So we'll just copy it, prevent any typographical error. It'll be difficult to debug. So we'll just paste that here. And there we'll now pass in our mutable string, reference of our mutable string. So yeah, so we have this. So if I go ahead and save and clear this, I go ahead and run this code. Let me see. Yeah, so yeah, something funny is happening here. So instead of getting the reversed string or values in the vector, I'm still getting HEL, and this is because of this line. So on line 6, we are reversing the string, and on line 7, we are reversing it back. And to prove this, I'll go ahead and comment out line 6 and save and run this program again. Now you see that we have the correct reversal. So what I'll do here is I will simply use my name to create a different string that will now show the different values. So let me. So I will just paste in something here quickly. Exactly. So we have a vector of name, which is my name, Chinedu, Chinedu. And here I will now pass that name, pass the name to our two-pointer reversal method that's available on our struct in our reverse string module or file. So here I'll add another formatting for it. And I'll add the name string to the end. Sorry, add name, yeah, name. Exactly. So with this, if I save and I all clear and run again to get the boot reversed. Yeah, so I have the first one OLEEH as reversing this one from the back OLEEH and my name D which is this, which is U, the last one, DE, so UDEN and all that. So basically, this is how we reverse a string in Rust. The reason why I would recommend you use the two-pointer technique, but first of all, start from this. If you find yourself in an interview and water down to this technique, is because this is, in my opinion, more efficient than the first one in the sense that um, we are performing our actions here in half of the time. For example, if you imagine that we have 1 million characters in our vector, we would have to go through each and every one of them one by one. But using the vector, we just swap, we divide that whole process by two. And instead of going 1 million times, we go 500,000 times, something like that. So that's like a huge improvement. But the big O notation is still O of n. And the reason is because the values of the vector would continue increasing, and also increase the number of time that we use to swap them, basically. So the O of n, or the value, or the O of n would still be like the time complexity of this very um you know technique, or yeah, this very technique, basically. So guys, that's basically how you reverse a string in Rust. There are so many other techniques of doing this, but these are the two that I I know very well. So you can go ahead and copy each of these block of code and paste it in your lead code, and you'll see that it will run and it will pass all the tests. So guys, thank you so much for joining me on this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.